They looked you in the eye and chose to hurt you, and then they walked away as if nothing had happened. No hesitation, no visible collapse. And in the quiet that followed, you found yourself asking a question that has kept you awake more nights than you would admit. Why do they seem fine when I am the one who was broken? You watched for cracks. You waited for the moment their new life would fall apart, for the guilt to catch up with them, for the phone call where they finally understood what they threw away. And it did not come. And that silence made you wonder if maybe you were the problem all along. But there is something about betrayal that most people never explain to you. The consequences are rarely loud, they rarely arrive on schedule, and they almost never show up in the way you are hoping for. What actually happens to a person who betrays someone is far quieter, far slower, and far more revealing than any dramatic downfall you have been waiting for. If you are rebuilding yourself after betrayal and you want honest, psychologically grounded conversations that help you understand what happened without losing yourself in the process, take a moment to subscribe. This is a space for people who want to heal with clarity, not bitterness. Let me start with something that may be difficult to hear. In most cases, the person who betrayed you did not think they were ruining anything. That is what makes betrayal so disorienting. They were not sitting across from you calculating your destruction. They were usually chasing something: freedom, attention, a feeling of being wanted, a sense of control, something that made them feel more alive, more powerful, more seen. And in that moment, the cost to you simply did not register. Not because you did not matter, but because they had already begun telling themselves a story that made their choice acceptable. This is where psychology gives us something important. The human mind is remarkably skilled at protecting its own image. When someone does something that contradicts the way they want to see themselves, they experience a kind of internal tension. Most people cannot sit in that tension for long. So instead of changing the behavior, they change the story. They tell themselves you were distant. They tell themselves they were unhappy. They tell themselves anyone would have done the same. They rewrite the history of your relationship so the betrayal becomes a reaction rather than a choice. And the more they repeat this version, the more real it feels to them. This is why you may have heard them describe events in a way that did not match your memory at all. You were not imagining that. You were watching a person edit reality in order to keep living with themselves. There is also the matter of entitlement. Not everyone who betrays someone is a narcissist, and it is important to say that clearly. Selfishness exists on a spectrum, and difficult behavior does not automatically mean personality disorder, but certain patterns tend to appear again and again. One of them is the quiet belief that they were owed something, owed excitement, owed admiration, owed the right to take what they wanted without weighing what it would cost the person who trusted them. When someone operates from that kind of entitlement, your pain becomes an inconvenience rather than a consequence. They may even feel annoyed that you are hurt, because your hurt interrupts the story in which they are the one who deserved more. And then there is validation. For many people, betrayal is not really about the other person at all. It is about the feeling of being chosen, desired, or important. External attention can create a powerful rush. It can make someone feel temporarily whole. But that feeling is unstable by design because it depends entirely on something outside of them. And when a person builds their sense of worth on the reactions of others, they are never truly full. They are only briefly distracted from the emptiness underneath. This is one of the first realistic consequences of betrayal, though it rarely looks like punishment. A person who reaches for validation instead of intimacy often ends up in a cycle. The excitement fades, the emptiness returns, and they go looking again. Not because life punished them, but because they never learned to sit with themselves. Now let us talk about accountability, because this is where the deepest understanding lives. When the consequences of their choices begin to appear, many people who betray others do not respond with genuine reflection. They respond with defensiveness. They may minimize what they did. They may insist you are exaggerating. They may point to your reaction as proof that you were unstable all along. This is called blame shifting, and it protects them from the unbearable weight of seeing themselves clearly. You need to understand something crucial here. Feeling bad about consequences is not the same as feeling remorse. A person can be devastated that they lost their reputation, their comfort, their access to you, and still feel no true accountability for the harm itself. Regret says, I wish this had not happened to me. Remorse says, I understand what I did to you. Those are not the same experience, and confusing them will keep you trapped for years. This is why apologies can be so misleading. An apology that is not followed by changed behavior is not evidence of transformation. It is often just an attempt to relieve their own discomfort or regain access to what they lost. Real accountability does not demand your forgiveness. It does not require you to reopen the door. It does not come with excuses attached. It simply acknowledges the harm without softening it. If you have been waiting for that kind of accountability, I want to gently prepare you for the possibility that it may never come. Not because you did not deserve it, but because giving it would require a level of self-honesty that some people are simply unwilling to face. And here is where I want to turn toward you, because you are the reason this conversation matters. Betrayal creates a very particular kind of confusion. You replay conversations. You search for the moment it changed. You wonder what you missed, what you lacked, what the other person had that you did not. You may find yourself comparing your worth to a stranger, measuring yourself against someone you have never met. And underneath all of it, there is often one persistent ache. You want them to finally understand what they did to you. I want to reframe that for you. The fact that your mind keeps returning to what happened does not necessarily mean you still want them back. Very often, the mind circles an unresolved violation because it is trying to make sense of something that broke its understanding of safety. Your thoughts are not weakness. They are your psyche attempting to rebuild a model of the world that betrayal shattered. But there is a trap hidden inside this process, and it is one of the most important things I can tell you. The desire for closure can quietly become another form of attachment. As long as you are waiting for them to realize, to regret, to admit, to suffer, you are still emotionally tied to them. You have handed them the role of deciding when you are allowed to feel at peace. If this conversation is reaching something real in you, stay with me and consider subscribing so you can keep returning to this kind of honest reflection. Healing is not a single moment of insight. It is a practice you return to, and you deserve a place that supports it. Now let me speak to the question you have probably asked more than any other. When will they realize what they lost? When will it finally catch up with them? Here is the honest answer. Sometimes it does. Over time, patterns of betrayal often erode the very things that make a life feel stable. Trust, once broken repeatedly, becomes difficult to rebuild with anyone. People who chronically violate boundaries may find that emotionally healthy partners eventually recognize the pattern and leave. Relationships built on deception tend to carry that same instability forward. Reputations within close circles can quietly shift as more people see the truth. And a person who depends on external validation may grow more isolated over time because they never developed the inner steadiness that real connection requires. These are not guarantees. I will not promise you karma because that would be dishonest, and you have already had enough dishonesty. Some people appear to move on quickly. Some never openly admit what they did. Some keep blaming others for the rest of their lives and seem on the surface perfectly content. What I can tell you is that the same patterns that allowed them to betray you rarely stay contained to you. Behavior repeats, and people who cannot be honest with others usually cannot be honest with themselves either. That inner dishonesty carries a cost, even when it is invisible from the outside. But here is the shift that changes everything, and I need you to sit with it. Your freedom cannot depend on their realization. Your healing cannot wait for their regret. Your peace cannot be held hostage by whether or not their new life falls apart, because if it does, then they still control you. They still hold the timeline of your recovery, and that is a form of ongoing power you do not have to give them. The most meaningful consequence is not that they suffer. It is that they no longer have access to the version of you they once took for granted. Not as a game, not as a weapon designed to provoke them, but as a genuine result of you becoming someone who protects your own life. This is where boundaries enter, and I want to be precise about what they are. A boundary is not punishment. It is not a strategy to make someone chase you. If you are reducing or ending contact, understand it for what it truly is. Reducing contact can interrupt the repeated emotional triggers that keep reopening the wound. It can create the quiet you need to think clearly when contact itself has become destabilizing. That is very different from silence used to manipulate a reaction. One is for your protection, the other keeps you entangled. Choose the one that sets you free. And please do not let anyone convince you that silence is a trick to make someone return. If you go quiet hoping they will notice, you are still living in their world. The purpose of distance is not to change them. It is to give you room to become yourself again. So let us talk about who that self can become. Rebuilding after betrayal begins with self-trust. And this is often the hardest part, because betrayal makes you doubt your own perception. You start wondering how you miss the signs, whether you can trust your instincts, whether you will simply be fooled again. Self-trust returns slowly, through small, honest choices, through learning to recognize the patterns you now understand, through listening to the quiet signals you may have overridden before. It also involves reconnecting with your values. Betrayal tends to pull your entire identity toward the person who hurt you. Your thoughts, your energy, your sense of self all begin to orbit around them. Recovery is the process of pulling that gravity back toward your own center, toward the things you care about, toward the people who never made you question your worth, toward a life that is not organized around a single wound. And this is where self-respect becomes essential. Let me tell you what self-respect is not. It is not becoming cold. It is not becoming cruel. It is not vowing to never trust anyone again. That is not strength. That is a wound wearing armor. Real self-respect is learning that compassion does not require unlimited access to you. It is learning that forgiveness does not obligate you to reconcile. It is learning that understanding why someone did something does not mean you have to excuse it. And most of all, it is learning that loving another person should never require you to abandon yourself. You can hold empathy for a person and still refuse to let them back in. You can understand their wounds and still protect yourself from their behavior. These are not contradictions. They are maturity. As you rebuild, you will likely notice something surprising. The obsessive replaying begins to quiet. The urge to check on their life begins to fade. Not because you forced it, but because your mind slowly finds the meaning it was searching for. And once you understand what happened, you no longer need them to confirm it. That is the moment your recovery becomes truly yours. When your emotional state no longer rises and falls with news of them. When their choices become simply information rather than a verdict on your value. When you realize that the question was never really whether they would regret losing you. The question was whether you would finally stop losing yourself. So let the old questions go. When will they realize? When will they regret it? When will they understand how badly they hurt me? Those questions kept you facing backward, waiting for a door that may never open. There is a better question, and it belongs entirely to you. What happens next in my life? Because betrayal may have changed your story. It may have taken time, trust, and a version of the future you believed in. But it does not get to write the rest of your life unless you hand it the pen. And you do not have to. The people who hurt you were reaching for something they thought would make them whole. You do not have to reach outward the way they did. You can build something steadier from the inside. A life shaped by your values, protected by your boundaries, and defined by your dignity rather than their absence. You were not ruined by what they did. You were revealed to yourself. You learned where your boundaries needed to be. You learned what you will no longer tolerate. You learned that your peace is not something you owe to anyone who treats it carelessly. That knowledge is not a scar, it is a foundation. If this reached something honest in you, and you want to keep rebuilding with clarity instead of bitterness, subscribe and stay in this space. This is where we keep doing the real work of healing, boundaries, self-worth, and recovery. One honest step at a time. You do not have to wait for anyone to understand what they lost. You only have to decide what you are ready to build, and that decision is already yours.